this is Garrett from Mobility SVM. Today we're going to be showing you how to properly demonstrate our conversion pickup truck for a client in your store. This is very important because these trucks will accommodate most wheelchair users and allow them to have a choice in which vehicle they drive. So today, again, we're going to demonstrate how to properly fit someone in. There's some great features of this truck. Today we're going to be showing you a brand new 2014 driver's side two-wheel drive. If you'll come over here, I'll show you some of the differences. We convert either a driver's side or a passenger side truck, and we can do it trucks from 2008 through current model years. I want to show you a four-wheel drive lift pan. It's going to look a little bit different than the lift pan we're going to use today. So over here we have a 2012, and this is a four-wheel drive driver's side conversion. You'll notice on the lift pan, now come on here, we have a small cutout right here. And so on our four-wheel drives, we have a transfer case, which is part of the drivetrain that transfers power to the front wheels when you engage your four-wheel drive. Because of that transfer case, it reduces the size of the lift pan just a small amount. So we have a small cutout here. So as you're fitting your customers, you want to make sure that you use the customer quantifier sheet that is provided by Mobility SVM to ensure a proper fit. The driver's side two-wheel drive conversion that we'll be demonstrating today is a nice rectangular pan that will accommodate just about every wheelchair on the market. Again, you want to do a proper demonstration to make sure that your client fits. So Garrett today is going to be demonstrating that. One of the first things you'll need to understand is how to open the conversion. There are two ways. Our conversion is an all-electric lift, and so it's best, it runs off the truck battery, so it's best if the engine's running. One important thing to remember when you're using the remote start on our wheelchair accessible pickup truck is to unlock it after you start it. To use the remote start, here's our remote for our 2014. We would press the lock button once, and then we would press and hold the circle button down the top. The lights will flash and the truck will start. You'll want to press the unlock button until you see the lights flash. Failure to do so will result in the alarm going off when you operate the conversion. And to operate the conversion, we simply hold our open button and the truck starts. There's also a toggle switch on the door, and we'll show you that as well. So when you're outside the vehicle, you can use the remote. When you're inside, there's a toggle switch right here, right by your window controls and your locks, right here. Again, you'll need to hold the toggle switch and use a continuous hold to operate the lift. Before putting your client in the conversion, as you open it up, you want to remove the original seat. Each truck comes standard with the original seat because we provide the option for our clients to either ride or drive from their wheelchair or to transfer into the original seat. This also gives family members, caregivers, or friends that would like to use the vehicle the opportunity to still use that original seat, so there's no lost seating in the vehicle. To remove the seat, we'll need to remove our plug, the power component for the truck. You'll simply, on our 2014s, push down our red button, push that in slightly, and it will release the gray latch. The gray bar will then push down, you'll hear it click, releasing it, and you'll simply pull it out. To remove the seat then, once we've disconnected our power source, we'll need to pull on a latch right down here on the side. On the driver's side, it's always on the side closest to the door. On the driver's side, it'll be right over here. We'll pull that until we hear a click. And we'll then slide the seat forward. You can do one of two things. You can either move the seat to the side to steer around the locking pegs on the bottom of the pan, or slightly tilt the pan to bring it out. So now we have that lift pan available to load our client in. Garrett's going to demonstrate and point out a few of the key things to pay attention to as you're loading your client.
And one of the first things, before loading a client into the truck, you want to ensure that your steering wheel is in the up position as far as it can go. This is to help ensure that your client's going to be able to clear that steering wheel. We want to make sure that not only their legs are going to clear, but if they're in a power chair, that their armrest and hand controls for their power chair are going to clear. As you bring your client in, you're going to have them come in at a slight angle. once they get about here, even between the front of the door and this rear section of the fender, then you'll start turning them back around to even out with the pan. You want to make sure that you're watching this fender here, because this is where they're going to most likely make contact and do damage during entry. You'll then have them continue to back onto the pan and try to get as close to center onto the pan as possible. You're going to take them all the way to the back of the pan. Once they've reached the rear of the pan, you'll then take them up forward as far as they can go and have them in a manual chair lock their wheels, or in a powered chair shut their chair off. Once they have shut down their chair or locked their chair, you're going to inspect their chair to make sure they are clear in the rear from the beam and clear here on the side to make sure they're not going to make contact with the door panel here or here. Once you've checked that, you can go ahead and suggest for them to raise their self in the conversion. This kind of gives them a little bit of that feeling of independence, helps them connect with the truck a little bit more, allows them to truly feel what it's going to be like to have their own vehicle. You also want to warn them that when the conversion reaches the top of the vertical lift, that the pan is going to tilt back on them before it starts to go in. It's going to be a little bit of a shock to them. So you don't want to scare them. So you want to make sure that they're aware of that. So go ahead and have them start raising themselves up. Now, as Reed was demonstrating, standing behind them as they're raising themselves up is the best position for you, because you can continue to watch to make sure that they're going to clear the beam in the door from that position. Once they reach this position here, you're going to want to come around to the door, and that way you can talk to them through the window, and you can continue to watch as they enter the vehicle to make sure they're going to clear the steering wheel and make sure they're not going to make contact with the dash, or their feet or footrests are not going to make contact with the side of the door.
And I will point out one thing for your power chair users: you're going to watch their armrest to make sure that joystick does not make contact with the wheel. And a few other safety features you may want to point out as they're loading in. We do have a safety strip right down here for our clients. If anything were to fall off a foot, or somebody were to make contact with that, slight contact will cause the lift to immediately stop. And so if that happens during the cycle, you'll want to stop the lift, remove your hand from the switch or the remote, and then reset, start over again. And so that will stop it immediately as a safety feature. Another feature you'll want to point out: these pans are all rated when they come out of our factory at 600 pounds. The lift capacity is 750 pounds. And so it should put itself in the proper position to bring them right in. You'll still want to make sure for your heavier power chair users and your larger clients to make sure that the lift pan is in the proper position to move in horizontally. Our entry height on our 1500 model is right at around 53 inches. Our headroom height on the interior is right at around 56 inches. And so as you use your quantifier sheet, this will identify if they're a proper fit for the 1500, if we need to make any adjustments to their chair, whether it be on a height or a tilt or a cushion, and make sure they're in the proper spot. Garrett's all the way in, one of the things you can point out is that this conversion has limit switches built into it, so it will automatically know how far to raise vertically and how far to go in horizontally before the cycle is complete. So they'll just need to hold the switch until the cycle is completed. Once he's in, the things that you're going to want to check, you'll go ahead and adjust that wheel to get it to the right position for him. Then these steering wheels go up and down, and then they'll also telescope as well, out and in. So we'll get that in the proper position. We'll go ahead and encourage them if they can to adjust the mirror, get that in the right position so they can see themselves. And then we'll also check our line of sight. To check the line of sight, you'll come to the front of the vehicle and you'll take a look into the windshield to see your client's position. You want their eyesight to be right around the middle of that rear view mirror and to make sure that they're in a proper line of sight to be able to see all the way around them. Garrett's a little bit of a taller individual, so what I might recommend with him, I would check his height, his head height on the interior. I'd check his line of sight. If we can make an adjustment to his wheelchair, we would. We could also recommend a 2500 model, which gets you a little bit more headroom on the interior. You can also point out at this time some of the other features of the vehicle. We have seating, full seating for 5 people in these vehicles. There's no lost seating as well, so you can still comfortably fit 3 adults in the back seat, another in the passenger side. This truck, you can also point out, does come with some great emergency features. One of them is, since this is all electric, as long as there's power to the vehicle, this lift should operate. However, in an accident, in an emergency, our front door will open for emergency use. It's only to be used by emergency personnel or someone providing an emergency escape for your client. Your client may also be able to open the door and get out themselves depending on their mobility and dexterity. To operate this door, again, which is only to be used for emergency use, and to learn more about proper use of this door, please see our warranty information, as that will share more information. You would release a latch right in here, inside the door. I'll come around so we can see that. We would release the latch, okay, to make it free from the clip, and then the door would open like normal. We would just pull the handle down. To lock it, you would make sure the door is closed and lock there. Again, this door is not to be used except for in an emergency. So we would recommend that you explain it during your demonstration, but never open it. We want to prevent people from opening and using that door, as it could cause damage to the fender or the door itself. And we want to make sure that our customers know that they'll be safe, but also that we want to make sure their truck looking and performing as best as possible. There's also a manual override, and we would recommend you looking at your service information to learn more about how to operate the manual override. But in case of a total electrical failure, there is a manual override to easily get a person in and out of the vehicle. So once we've done that, and we've looked at their fit and got them in their proper position, exiting the vehicle is very easy. Garrett would just hold that toggle switch down, or again, we could use the remote and hold the open button, and he'll come back out. So we'll go ahead and let Garrett.
Coming back out, you're going to want to remind them again that pan is going to tilt forward. You're also going to want to make them aware to hold the button down until the lift stops on its own. The habit is going to be to, once that pan makes contact with the ground, they're going to want to let go of the button. That's just, the natural response. The pan hits the ground, they're going to let go. Tell them to go ahead and continue to hold that down until that limit switch stops the lift on its own. Then watch them as they come out. Make sure that they come out to about the fender, and then have them turn to come out the rest of the way so that they clear the tire and fender.
Thank you, Garrett. Now, some of the exciting things to understand, well, first of all, the first time they load will take the longest and be the hardest. As we've talked to our clients, they've become much more quick and able to understand exactly how to load and unload in a very timely fashion. Some of the great features of this conversion that we'll want to point out, and that would be important to point out during the demonstration, is one, our door opening height. Opening width, I'm sorry. Our door only opens around 36 inches, which is about the same distance as our standard swinging door on this truck opening. So this truck could be parked in any parking spot, not just a van accessible spot or a handicap spot. But if you have room to fully open the door, you can park it in any parking spot. It also can be safely kept in the garage as well and would allow room for loading and unloading. We also have on the pan a spray coating that is designed for truck beds. So it's very durable, very tough, provides for easy cleanup and less wear and tear on the conversion floor and the lift pan. So you'll see we have a nice spray on the bottom that also will help prevent rust. We have that same spray on the floor. A few other features that are very important to understand are our vehicle requirements for the conversion. You'll notice on the front we have the Z71 sticker. All of our trucks come standard or require a Z71 suspension. This provides a stronger suspension to accommodate the added weight that's added to the vehicle. Our new model only adds 450 pounds to the total weight of the vehicle, but we still require that Z71 suspension just for that extra strength and a more smooth ride. These trucks also come standard with backup cameras or require backup cameras. They're strongly recommended so that you can easily back up and see all the way around. These also come with a 3-inch body lift. One of the great features of our truck is that we keep the original ground clearance on the truck. And so we put a 3-inch body lift because we lower the conversion side floor. And so this will help us keep the original ground clearance while still providing a larger opening on the truck for our clients to be able to comfortably load and unload. Some of the other vehicle requirements we have for our conversion trucks are tow packages is required and standard on these vehicles. That's also to provide a stronger suspension for, again, a more smooth ride in the vehicle. Another great feature on our driver's side conversions is we have a external hood release. And we try to make these as camouflaged as possible, but also in case of a battery being dead for whatever reason it may be, you would be able to access the hood to be able to provide a jump to get enough power to the truck to open the conversion. So your external hood release is right here. There's a little latch. Give that a pull, and then we'd be able to open the truck. These trucks all come standard with a single battery, but have housing for an auxiliary battery. We recommend putting an auxiliary battery in just to avoid the possibility of battery failure and extend battery life as well. Another important feature that you want to understand as you demonstrate the product, again, as this is an electric lift, there's a slight draw on the battery when it is sitting idle. And so if the truck is going to be idle for an extended period of time, we recommend that the battery be turned off. And so it's important for your clients to understand how to do that, and that's a good thing for them to know as they're learning about the vehicle, how to do that. So underneath the seat opposite, the back seat opposite the conversion side, there is a PLC. And this is the controller that controls the power to the lift. Underneath, there is simply a black and a red switch, and your black switch is your on, and your red is your off. Again, if the truck is going to sit idle for an extended period of time, we recommend you turn this lift off by simply pushing the red button. You'll hear a click, and the lift is off. To turn power back on, you'll push down on that black button until you hear a click. One thing that is important to know about our wheelchair accessible pickup truck is the compatibility with locking devices that are standard on the market. Locking devices such as Easy Lock or Q-Straint or tie downs are compatible with our truck. And so those would connect directly onto the bottom of the lift pan, and your clients would be able to use those locking devices that they're comfortable with. This truck is also compatible with most hand controls that are out on the market, including low effort steering. Our truck has been approved to be used with those.